Hey there everyone, it's CandyEvie here and welcome to another video. So on Monday we had the mother of all news reveals. We got a bunch of new Pokemon and something super interesting called Alola Forms for existing Pokemon. This is where the Pokemon has adapted to a different environment and has a new type and appearance to match it. They're different from Mega Evolutions in the sense that they're permanent. In this regard, they're more similar to Pokemon like Wormadam. But yeah, as soon as I saw the Ice-type Vulpix, a ton of ideas just exploded in my mind. Personally, I believe there's a good chance that only Kanto Pokemon will receive these changes, partially due to a Chinese leak that I'll cover in more detail later. In light of this, most of the Pokemon I'm going to cover are going to be from Generation 1, but if they aren't, then there's good reason behind it. But let's get started. At number 10, we have Bonsai and Sudoku. Okay, so before I start this point, I want to make it absolutely clear that I know why Bonsai and Sudoku are rock types. Yeah, they do look like trees, but it's just a clever technique used to camouflage. That's why Sudoku is literally known as the imitation Pokemon. Their types make complete sense. That's why I didn't include them in either of my Pokemon whose types make no sense videos. Are we good? Great. What I'm thinking is, what if Bonsai and Sudoku actually were grass types? Alola seems like a very tropical region, so there's bound to be a rainforest somewhere. What if, to adapt to this sort of environment, Bonsai and Sudoku became grass types? Maybe instead of those weird green circular things they have, they actually grew leaves? It's something to think about. At number 9, we have the entire Gibble evolutionary line. Okay, so this might seem a little strange, but hear me out. I said I wasn't going to include Pokemon from generations other than 1 unless I had pretty good reasoning behind it. The entire Gibble line draws inspiration from sharks. It may sound strange, but what if in Alola the entire Gibble line had adapted to the water? And so replacing their ground type with water. I came up with some color schemes that may reflect this typing a little better. Obviously their entire design would change, but I'm not that good at Photoshop. I've got to say that if this one in particular does happen, then it will mean that Mega Evolution definitely won't be returning, but it's still an exciting concept to me. At number 8, we have Butterfree. Butterfree is one of my favorite bug types, probably because in real life butterflies are like my favorite insects ever, but that's beside the point. I've always found it strange that Beedrill got a new form, being a Mega Evolution in Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but its counterpart Butterfree just got left out. But Sun and Moon could be the opportunity for this little butterfly to receive a little bit of love. Back when people were speculating about possible Mega Evolutions, a popular choice was a Psychic Bug type Mega Butterfree. If you look up Mega Butterfree on Google Images, there are tons of awesome designs that give me butterflies about how an Alola Form Butterfree could look. But while Butterfree probably won't ever get a Mega Evolution, a Psychic Bug type Butterfree is a pretty likely possibility. I say this because it's also one of the predictions made by a Chinese Sun and Moon leak that has gained credibility recently. Now, it's good to take everything with a grain of salt, but at the very least, in one of the images, there's a small drawing of one of the new trial leaders that wasn't revealed until weeks after these images started circulating. If it's fake, then how could they have predicted that without access to any of the information? This gives me a little more hope for Butterfree, but we'll see. At number 7, we have Growlithe Arcanine. Okay, so this is the last time that I'm going to talk about the Chinese leak, but there was one Alola Form mentioned there that I just could not ignore. And that would be a water type Growlithe Arcanine. And oh my gosh, I want it now! I mean, water and fire are pretty much opposites, but you could say the same about fire and ice. But look at Vulpix and Ninetales, they look amazing! The Vulpix and Growlithe evolution lines are seen as counterparts to each other, so it would make sense if they both got Alola forms. I did a little edit of Growlithe and Arcanine to change up their color scheme, and oh my gosh, I need these two precious puppies like now. At number 6, we have Rapidash. Think of this for a moment. Take good old Rapidash here, and take away all the fire. Pretty boring, right? It kinda looks like a normal type. But we're not done here, oh no. Let's give it wings! Maybe make its coloring a little lighter, and boom! You've got yourself a beautiful looking Pegasus Pokemon. I would make this a pure flying type because there's only one pure flying type Pokemon out there right now, and it's a legendary, so it would make things a lot more interesting. Rapidash with wings is even a Google search result, so people obviously want it. Look on Google Images and you can see tons of examples of fan art that show Rapidash with wings. It was meant to be. At number 5, we have Arbok and Mantike. Okay, so I put Arbok and Mantike into the same point because they're both on the list for pretty much the exact same reason. It may seem kinda weird, but I'm gonna say straight up that if Arbok does get an Alola form, then it probably isn't going to change type. The marking on Arbok's hood is a pretty interesting topic for discussion. Its Generation 1 Pokédex entries state that the markings can differ from area to area. And in the games this held true, until after Generation 3 when they were like, "Stop it, Arbok's having the same marking in every region from now on." I think that Alola forms are a very good opportunity for us to actually see at least one new variation of Arbok's markings. It doesn't even have to be a different type. Simply saying a pure poison type with a new look would satisfy me. But onto Mantike. Mantike's point is similar to Arbok's, because its Pokédex entries also state that the pattern on its back differs by region. Are you sure about that, Pokédex? They're all the same! But anyway, while I can't really predict whether or not Mantike or Arbok will get a type change, I do see Alola forms as a good opportunity to expand on a really cool unused concept. At number 4, we have Shellos and Gastrodon. Shellos and Gastrodon are pretty much the original Alola form Pokemon. They weren't called that, but it was the exact same concept, just on a much smaller scale. In Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, the Shellos and Gastrodon that you find differ in appearance depending on what side of the region that they're found in. But after Generation 4, they're just kind of there. You can't find them, but it didn't really make an awful lot of sense seeing as those forms were meant to be specific to certain parts of Sinnoh. But anyway, why not make new forms for the original pair to have different appearances based on location? With a changed color scheme and some added extras, you could pretty much make it any type. They could even bring back the unused designs. At number 3, we have Geodude, Graveler, and Golem. I don't know how to describe it, but when I look at these three, I see potential for the biggest Pokemon snowball fight ever. It might sound a little bit weird, but when I played around with the colors of these three and changed them to white, it actually works. Changing their eye color to a cold blue also works wonders too. I want this to be a thing so bad. The only reason I doubt this one a little is because they've already announced 2 Kanto evolution lines changing to ice types, so it would be a little bit repetitive. But were it not for that, I would definitely say there's a good possibility that we could get snowball Pokemon. At number 2, we have Marowak. In the trailer released on Monday, we saw these new trial captains revealed, one of which is a dude called Kiawe, I think. His description is, Kiawe is a captain whose expertise is in fire-type Pokemon. Together with his Marowak, he studies the traditional dances that have been passed down in the Alola region. What? Marowak? As in the ground type? I've seen a lot of speculation going on surrounding this tiny little bit of text, but it makes sense. Why else would Marowak be referred to unless it has a fire-type equivalent in Alola? It could be based on a fire dancer or something. I came up with this concept using the official art, so let me know what you think of it. But what I can say is that if Marowak receives an Alola form that's a fire-type, then it's safe to say that Cubone probably will too. And number 1 is Crystal Onyx. For those of you who may not know, Crystal Onyx is a very special Onyx that appeared in the Orange Islands episode of the same name. It has a special body made of crystal that is suited to its water habitat, which is pretty much the same concept as Alola Form Pokemon. Not to mention the fact that people have spotted many similarities between Alola and the Orange Islands, to the point that people have speculated that Alola and the Orange Islands are pretty much the same place. While I don't quite believe this is true, I do think that this potential Alola form is one of the most likely to appear. While the games and the anime certainly aren't the same canon, I really do hope that Crystal Onyx makes an appearance as an Alola form. But that's it for my top 10 Pokemon that could receive Alola forms in Pokemon Sun and Moon. I'm sorry that this video is a little bit late in relation to the trailer, by which time I'm sure you've probably already seen a few videos talking about this same topic. But I wanted to take a little more time to make a full top 10, and so that I could actually try and be as creative as I could with it. I'm sorry you had to see my awful Photoshop skills. I also want to say that this is my high effort video of the week, because starting tomorrow, or whenever it arrives. I'm going to be opening up a booster box of the latest set, Steam Siege. So those videos are going to roll out over the next few days. It's been a while since I've done a Pokemon Sun and Moon themed list, but if you have any ideas for another one you'd like to see from me, then I would love to hear it. As long as it isn't top 10 Mega Evolutions or top 10 hopes for Sun and Moon. But for now, that's all for now from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!